Hello and welcome back to the 52-week illustration challenge. As you guys have seen, this is week 19 and the prompt was creek. So for this one, I was a little bit worried because I don't usually do backgrounds very well. I'm not very good with scenery. I've been practicing quite a bit trying to do things like with the last prompt where I actually put my character in a bedroom, trying to basically expand my skill a little bit. I don't know why it is that I'm so terrible with backgrounds. Maybe because I just focus too much on the character, and the funny thing is that I really love pictures that have beautiful, bold, detailed backgrounds, and yet I just never do them myself. I guess I must be lazy. I really should work on that because it's something that I think I would be really proud of to do well. In this case, I wasn't too thrilled with the background. I just quickly drew this one up. I had plenty of time to think about it, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but every version of the background that I did for this, I didn't like. So this was the final one that I just decided, enough's enough. I have tried and tried and tried, and it's just not looking right, so we're just going to run with this one. So the idea here is, and yes, I'm well aware that those are two tree frogs and not normal frogs. That's kind of the point behind this. So there is a little creek nearby where they live, even though I know that tree frogs mostly live in, like, the Amazon, I believe. These guys have somehow hitched a ride to somewhere in, I don't know, wherever you want, maybe the United States somewhere. And they just have decided that they like to swim. So instead of just hanging out in the trees all day, they're going to come down on a hot Louisiana day or something and go to the creek and just go swimming and have some fun. So that's what these two are doing in this picture. I chose them just because I love the way that tree frogs look. I love their color scheme and just their body shape and everything. Frogs in general are okay, they're cute, but tree frogs for me, they have like a soft spot in my heart. I love tree frogs. So I put those little guys there, and you can see the guy there hanging onto that rock that I was just painting. He's kind of unsure of the situation, whereas this guy up front here is just chill, relaxed, and he's enjoying life. So this part here with the rocks was actually already, for me, the ugly phase, as I've discussed in previous pieces, like with my turtle piece for Zoom. I instantly hated the rocks. As I said in the beginning already, I didn't like the drawing very much, so that was already a bad start, but I thought, maybe I can salvage it like I did with the Zoom prompt, You just never know, so you just have to give it a go. So I decided to just push forward. I did a base color, and then I decided to do different colors for each of the rocks. And the rocks turned out okay in the end. I was actually quite satisfied with the outcome. Surprising. But everything around it, like the foliage, I can't do plants. I love plants. I absolutely adore plants, but I just can't paint or draw them. Perhaps it's because I don't take enough time to actually study them, which I should do. I'm thinking of doing some sketchbook studies where I just go outside and just look at the shape of a tree or a bush, see how branches and leaves just, lay, and then just practice, because that's about the only way I'm going to learn. Rocks are fairly easy for me. I have the thing for rocks, and I used to do quite a few pieces with stippling on rocks, because the textures would just turn out so amazing. With stippling, I can do backgrounds really well for some reason because I have so much more control than I do with paint. So with stippling, I have no fear of backgrounds at all, and I just, I go for it. But when it comes to paint, it loses some of the details somehow. I can't really explain it, but it becomes lackluster. And for this piece in particular, towards the end, I again fell back on gouache to try and help pump up the piece, but the gouache just kind of became dull when I was laying it down, and you'll see that fairly soon. So I came back in with my white gel pen, and that helped a little bit, but not to the extent that I was hoping. But other than that, the whole piece was just a bit too washed out for me, even though I'm still using my White Nights palette, which is my all-time favorite and standby paint. I just wasn't getting the results I wanted. Maybe because I didn't do a little swatch test first, a little thumbnail to see how colors would look next to each other and so on. I probably should have actually taken the time for that one, since I did have the time this week. But I was just not in the mood, and I've been super tired again. I think it's just, it's now a permanent part of my life. I'm just tired. My burnout just hasn't, gone away, and I'm still dealing with it. The doctor said it could take a long time, so, you can't really fight it. It just makes it worse. So I'm trying to be more relaxed. I took my time with this one today. I wasn't in a rush, and I do like it. I like the colors. I like the placement of things. I just feel I could have done the creek a little bit better. Maybe different kinds of blue for the water instead of just the one phthalo blue. I tried to come back in a little bit later with color pencils, which you will see in a bit, where I try to pump up some of the color and, make things a bit more bold or a bit more detailed. And it just didn't work because I have no idea what I'm doing with color pencils. It's another thing I need to practice. So my list of things that I need to do is growing to be able to expand my skill level. Because I see many artists actually using color pencil. Anita Gutsinska is one of them. And, it's just the way that it looks. She has a skill level with color pencils, adding in the details at the end, where it just looks amazing. And when I try and do it, it just looks like a 4-year-old came and just doodled all over my painted piece and basically ruined it. So skill levels vary. That's another thing I just need to work on. So color pencils is definitely something on my list for the future that I want to incorporate, because they do, when I see the other people using them in their illustrations, they look beautiful, and watercolor and color pencil. So it's something that I absolutely will definitely tackle again in future. Maybe I will do some practice runs in my sketchbook that I will not be filming, so I don't feel pressure like I do with these prompts. And then just, figure it out, because that's all you can do, right? There's no magic trick to this. It's just practice and learning. But yeah, we're getting fairly close now to the end of the painting of this piece. As you can see, one of the front tree frog's legs is out of frame. Now that idea came from Casey Golden, because sometimes in her pieces she does half of the picture or a part of the picture out of the frame, and I love the breaking of the frame. I've done it in the past as well with pieces like my shrew and some of my puffins, because I've always loved that. But seeing it recently on some of Casey's stuff made me want to go back to doing that. So now here I'm busy going in with a color pencil again, and I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, trying to make the effect of leaves and, different color variations, but I'm not used to these color pencils. They're from Derwent, I believe, and I just, like I said, I have no experience with color pencils, really. Last time I used them must have been when I was in junior high. But, yeah, so back to the tree frog in the front. After I removed the tape, then I could paint his little front leg there that was sticking out his little hand. And then I continue on here with the details with the pencils. I'm basically just digging around in my color pencil case here and trying to find colors. I'm doing little test swatches off camera to see what they look like, because I probably have never used this pencil set ever, I think, and it's huge. And I'm not a color pencil person. I just like watercolors. So here I try to put in details on like the frog, little scales and things, and then just trying to brighten up some patches with some color. And it worked to some degree in some things, and in others it just didn't. Here when I go into the rock, I first used this wrong brown. It was a ruddy brown, and I didn't like it. It didn't sit well, so I switched to this other darker brown, and it was okay. But I wasn't getting the effects that I wanted. So I tried to go in on some of the rocks and darken some areas up. And it was okay. It was, fine, I guess, but not the effect I was looking for, because these color pencils leave a bit of a sheen, as you can see there, and that's not what I was after. So in the end, I kind of just quit with the color pencils, and I said, okay, I can't do anything to this piece. It's not going to make it any better. So I then just come back in a minute here after I try to brighten up the pieces with some gouache instead. Here I'm trying to make a bit more variation in the water with the color pencil again, and it didn't work. I should have used a different color. But here's the gouache, and the problem with the gouache is that my gouache is already like almost gray, so it lost its sheen entirely. It's not white, and I tried to go over several pieces, or several parts several times, and it didn't work. So in the end, you'll see me going over it with my white gel pen. But that's basically it, guys. Thanks so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're going to stick with me for the rest of these. Thanks so much for your support, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up down below this video. And all details of what I've used here are in the description box below if you're interested. Thanks again so much, guys, and have a great rest of the weekend, and I hope your week starts out great. Alright, see you guys later. Bye!